Now, let me share with you how this incomparable Siddha Purusha, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, helped me to transcend the two major hurdles of body and mind in my spiritual sadhana. For 38 years, Yogi Ramsuratkumar had lived and played the role of a homeless beggar with the panache of a carefree millionaire. Swami, as he was affectionately called, was well known, not only in Tamil Nadu, but also farther afield in India and abroad, sometimes in the most unexpected quarters. The gentleness of his speech in English, Tamil, and Hindi belied the force of his personality. And he gave freely of his life essence. If the gift was undervalued by the sophisticated, it was only because Yogi Ji was offering fruit of his hard-earned experience for a price far less than what he himself had paid. However, for the unlettered soul, this process of give and take was an uncomplicated exchange. I was 23 years old when I came to stay at Sri Ramanasramam. For more than 30 years of my stay inside the ashram, I had the unique privilege of associating myself very closely with all the old devotees of Sri Bhagavan that were still living. They guided me, not by preaching to me, but by their exemplary living. Until the age of 50, I was treated and nurtured like the child of the ashram. I was even fondly addressed by the old devotees as Kuzhandai Swami, meaning child Swami. But it was Yogi Ramsurat who commenced my ashram life in 1959 when the pundit T.K. Sundaresa Iyer drew my attention to the presence and greatness of this Siddha Purusha. He was also Yogiji who wrote the closing chapters of my ashram life, by truly guiding me and molding my life with specific spiritual instructions. I share the following moving incident with a surrendered heart and with an overwhelming sense of profound gratitude to Yogiji. The eventful day when my friend Anuradha took me to Yogi Ramsuratkumar was marked as a milestone in my spiritual life. My life took a U-turn on that day. I have dealt in detail about this in the other book I've written, Ramana Periya Puranam. This is how Yogiji's powerful guidance affected me. Swami, Ganesan is going through a lot of stress with the printing press issue, and he wants to commit suicide. Anuradha blurted this out with pain to Yogiji. But it came to the response from him, it was, Ganesa, what did our master Bhagavan Ramana teach us? You have to inquire into the source of thoughts and kill the mind and not the body. The body has served you well all these years. Why take it out on the body? I felt cornered and murmured, let me then run away from Arunachala. With a spark of inquisitiveness in his eyes, Yogiji asked me, where will you go if you leave Arunachala? Without taking time to think, I spontaneously replied, to Kashi, Swami. Seizing the opportunity, Yogiji asked me with intense enthusiasm, will you promise to go to Kashi if the problem is solved? I expressed full consent. As assured, I spent a whole year in 1988 and 89 very peacefully at the Krishnamurti Foundation of India in Rajghat, Varanasi, the sacred land where Mother Ganga flows. When I returned to Arunachala after that serene period, I noticed a marked change in me. I had developed an attitude of detachment to managing the ashram. Meanwhile, my younger brother Mani was managing the ashram as its administrator. On my arrival, however, Yogi Ji sent me to Mataji Krishnabai, as she was on her deathbed. Mataji blessed me profusely and made me stay with her for 2 months in her peaceful presence. After those 2 months of spiritual bliss, when I tried to settle down again at the ashram, a thunderbolt hit me out of the blue. Someone had sent an anonymous letter to all my close and respected friends, which included Swamijis of different ashrams, in which I was accused of various misdeeds and abused roundly. This totally disturbed my mental poise. An ashram worker took me to Yogi Ji. After listening to all the details, Yogi Ji said, "This is pure poison. Our Lord Shiva became immortal by swallowing poison. You too have to do it. Swallow this poison, Ganesa. This beggar is with you." He held my hand with deep affection throughout the time he spent with me. He got a cup of tea, covered it up with his hand for a long time, and then made me drink it. His words, his touch, and his overflowing love quieted my agitated mind. I returned to the ashram with a clear heart, with an attitude of indifference to whatever happened in and around me, and determined to serve the ashram no matter what. Yet after a few days, I had to face much bigger and deeper attacks. I started receiving letters of disapproval and reprimand from reputed people. My mind was so deeply disturbed that I ran to Yogi Ji again, taking with me all those letters. After listening to the details, Yogi Ji said, "You remember, this beggar requested you a few days back to swallow the poison. You were kind enough to oblige this beggar. Now, this beggar begs of you, Ganesa, to digest the poison. Digest it. Father's blessings are fully on you." He held my hand for 2 full hours. All the while I was shedding tears. I appealed to him again that I was still deeply upset and disturbed. Yogi Ji replied, "Adverse situations do afflict sadhakas, spiritual aspirants. Lot of the insults are hurried upon them. Our ancient works, like the Periya Puranam, abound with such stories, and how when they patiently bore all of these, Lord Shiva blessed them and merged them with himself." Yogi Ji continued his tender and affectionate attention on me and added, "You are not the mind, Ganesa. Mind is only a phantom. It is only a bundle of thoughts. Our master, Bhagavan Ramana, guided us to only inquire into the source of thoughts and not to entertain the mind's wandering. There is no mind at all, no thoughts. Inquire and it will disappear. Release yourself from the clutches of the mind. You are never the mind, Ganesa." It is an amazing fact that using the pretext of my press problem, Yogi Ji piled many trials and tribulations on me, and it was he himself who removed them all, then guided me to leave the ashram and settle down in my house, Ananda Ramana. He was and ever is the God who creates and removes obstacles. Indeed, it was Yogi Ji who helped me release myself, free myself from the bondage to my body and mind. I became calm, like a clean slate. It was Yogi Ji who also helped me to settle down at Ananda Ramana. While I was still in the ashram, he would come early in the morning, take me to Ananda Ramana, the hut where Ganesan now lives, and give me exclusive satsang the entire day. On all those occasions, Yogi Ji would insist on taking Anuradha too with us to Ananda Ramana. He would tell her, "Ganesan needs help and protection. Let us extend it to him." Soon, Yogi Ji started bringing famous and reputed persons, even the daughter-in-law of a newspaper magnate, famous artists, along with him to spend the whole day. Sometimes he would even spend 2 or 3 days at a stretch in Ananda Ramana. He got me accustomed to living alone at Ananda Ramana. He himself loved Ananda Ramana. He adored its serenity and kept commenting on how the air there was unpolluted, how the water in the well was like the holy Ganga, and how the birds in the garden were always singing. The way he would pick up a flower, inhale its fragrance, hold it over his eyes, then his heart, and ask Ma Devakai to make a garland, and then enjoy wearing it around his neck, was always a divine sight. He would make me read passages from Sri Bhagavan's talks with Ramana, day by day with Ramana, and letters, and would pointedly draw my attention to Sri Bhagavan's famous declaration where he said, "The only purpose of life is to realize the self. All other activities are a waste of time." To stay with Yogi Ji at Ananda Ramana was a true spiritual experience indeed. Yogi Ramsuratkumar not only guided me spiritually, but also, since I was very naive in matters of the world, he guided Anuradha to take care of me and attend to my mundane needs and activities. He fully approved of her building a house, Anandavana, right behind Ananda Ramana for her son, Sankar. He even insisted on her staying in it for the exclusive purpose of pursuing her spiritual sadhana, and more especially for taking care of me. Soon Yogi Ji started building his own ashram. As was his wont, he was intensely involved in it. Whenever I went and stood in front of him, he would say, "Ganesa, we have spent a lot of time together. Go back to Ananda Ramana and put Sri Bhagavan's teachings into practice all the time." It was Yogi Ji's constant prodding to share the teaching and put it into continuous practice that reshaped my spiritual life. There was always the grace of Sri Bhagavan and the blessings of the old devotees. But it was Yogi Ramsuratkumar who molded my life in many ways. All the traveling and sharing I have done on Sri Bhagavan's teachings in the United States and elsewhere was done on Yogi Ji's instructions. He said, "Wherever you go, Ganesa, this beggar is always with you." And he blessed me one day, saying, "For everyone else, God is everywhere. But for Ganesa, God is only at Ananda Ramana." Thank you, Swamiji. Repeated prostrations at your feet from this child of yours.